y'all. This is Gearbox Ranch Granny. Oh, I am so glad to see you people this week. We are going to make a homemade pasta. Now, this is absolutely wonderful. If you make your homemade chicken noodle soup, use this for the noodles. It makes a nice noodle. They are wonderful. So easy to make. Today, I'm going to be making them with eggs. I take 2 eggs. And I put them in my bowl. Just crack those like you're cracking somebody's head. Whip them up just a little bit there, not a lot. Doesn't require a lot. Now what we're adding is 2 cups of flour with just about an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And we'll mix that all in there, and it's going to be a little stiff, so we'll have to add just a little water at a little time. This is so easy, I tell you. And you know, on a nice cold day, how good some homemade rolls and a pot of chicken noodle soup just makes you feel good all over. You're going to stir this and mix that egg in there real good. Another thing you can do is you can take a can of canned spinach, and I like to blend it so it's just kind of liquid. Start with 2 cups of flour, but you have to add more flour because that generally has more liquid in it than a couple of eggs. You can see now it's kind of flaky, but it's not really well enough that you can roll it into a dough. So what we'll do is we'll mix that in real good, and then we're going to add just a little water. I add just a little at a time because if you get too much, then you have to add flour. Oh, Lord, that's a vicious cycle. Flour then water. Flour then... Oh, look, I got dinglings. I'm a dingling. I'm a dingling. Oh, yeah, this is great. Might need just a little more water. I'm going to get our hands in it now. That's right. When you first start, if you get your hands kind of coated in flour, then it don't stick so bad. We're going to make almost the texture of Play-Doh. It's a pretty stiff dough. Still just a little more water, not too much this time. We sure don't want too much. We don't want to start that vicious cycle. There she goes. And this dough, unlike a bread dough, you don't have to knead it for a long amount of time. Now, if you have one of those KitchenAids that mix it, those do great for mixing this in, because what you need is you just need it mixed real well. So we've absorbed the water, and now we're just going to finish getting it, make sure it's mixed good. And I'm just squeezing it together, and I have me a little cup of flour here. Just want a good mixture. It doesn't have to be kneaded a lot. Once you get it mixed real good, you see that is kind of stiff like Play-Doh. You can see that's pretty stiff. And I lay it down, and I get my rolling pin, and I start rolling. And you're going to want to roll this pretty thin. Depends on how you want your noodles, but most of the time, you want your noodles pretty thin. Makes a nice, excuse me, I'm just going to take about half of that so I can show you real quick. How thin we want it. You want it every bit as thin as a pretty thin tortilla. And I have a little flour here so it don't stick to my rolling pin. But we don't want much. So what I do is I coat my table. And then rub my dough in it and flip it over just like you saw. There you go. Now this is just a small portion of what our dough was. We still have quite a bit, so this is going to make quite a few noodles. If you look at that, you can see that is very thin. Then I take my dishcloth, and this I'm going to use for drying my noodles. Move my water out of the way. Just lay my dishcloth right there. Now we take the knife and you cut very, very thin little noodles. You can see these are very, very thin, very small. We'll cut all that dough up and we'll lay it on this paper. On this dishcloth. I leave it on there from anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to let it dry a little bit. I'm not going to have this completely dry out because I'm not going to be putting it up in the cabinet. But I let it dry a little bit. Then I get my water prepared. And like for chicken noodle soup, I get everything ready with the chicken and the broth and whatever vegetables you want in there. Get it boiling real good. And then I drop these noodles in and I cook them for about 15 minutes. It's a perfect noodle. It never gets mushy because they're homemade. I don't know why. I just know they don't. But you can see, just make these little strips and put them on there and let them be drying. Now, I will use the same recipe when I make a homemade lasagna, make my own lasagna noodles. Like I said before, I've done it with spinach. I blend it up. And then I start adding my flour to the spinach until I make a dough, roll it out. Do not taste the spinach. It's a great way to get some vegetables in your family's meal. That's Gearbox Ranch Granny giving you my little version of some Italian. And I am so glad you came to see me this week. And remember, pray to your Savior, Jesus Christ, and God bless every one of you. And I will see you next week.